What is up, guys? Today I'm going to teach you how to do guitar reamps. Super fast, efficient, the easiest way possible to do them, how I do them. Reamping is such an essential part of every studio now. I've seen it gain a lot of traction in the last, 7 years or so, 7 to 10 years. It's always been a thing, but more and more as it gets kind of more modernized and people keep doing it, it's just gained a lot of popularity. And I've not pretty much been to a single session, and I'd say the last 5 years, where there hasn't been at least one reamp done. Reamping is the process of taking a guitar DI that you've previously recorded in your DAW, your computer, and running it out of your DAW, out of your audio interface, into an amplifier at a later time. This is great for saving time when you have a band here and you just want to get them in and get out and then worry about finding tones later. But it's also great for versatility. You choose something on the spot, you're not really happy with it, you can always go back and use reamping to get different tones later. I probably reamp 3 to 5 times a day, if I'm being totally honest. I reamp lots of things for myself, lots of guitar pedals, and I also reamp for clients. I have a few amps that I'm always having to do for friends as well too, that they just love the tone of, and it's very, very common, and you will see it a ton, I guarantee it, especially if you're in a studio in 2021. So what do you need for reamping? Reamping, you need a few things. The first thing you're going to need, the most important thing, is you're going to need clean, dry, incredibly tracked DI tracks, whether it be for a guitar, a bass, a piano. I've seen people even reamp snare drums. You just need the cleanest, purest quality source that you could basically get your hands on. So engineering a clean source is going to be the most important thing here, and the thing that you're going to need to reamp. The second thing you're going to need is an audio interface. Any audio interface will pretty much do, but you're going to want one with at least enough outs so that you can monitor the source as you're sending it out and also send it out. 4 outs is usually good for this, but if you're planning on doing different things with different outs, you might want to grab one with 6 or even 8. You can use an audio interface with 2 outs, but you would likely be bypassing your monitors in exchange to run the source out of the interface into your amplifier. You're also going to need one of these, a Reamp Box. It's not necessary, but it is kind of necessary. So you're going to need one of these. This is a Reamp Box, and what this does is it basically takes the signal from your computer, which is a balanced level source, and it runs it out to the unbalanced source that is guitar. When you're running basically any type of guitar source at all, or playing guitar through a guitar amplifier, pedals, whatever, all the sources are basically unbalanced. And when you mix unbalanced with balance, noisy things happen, and you're not going to get the best tone you want. You could certainly do it, but it's just spend the $100, get a Reamp Box, and love your life. I use the Radial RMP. This is like $100, and it is incredible. I love this thing. I've used it pretty much every day for the past 3 years. It's never been a problem, and I will use it until it continues to break. There are a ton of different brands. There are other ones by Radial that are also awesome, but Reamp Box is going to be one thing you're definitely going to want to snag. The last thing you're going to need is basically a microphone or microphones. This is entirely up to you, however you would like to do your miking of your speaker cabinet or source of wherever you're running the reamp through. However you would mic a guitar cab or speaker if you were doing normal tracking for a normal band. If you had a guitar player playing in front of you using an SM7B or an MD421, a 57 and some sort of ribbon microphone. I mean, the combinations are endless. You can choose whatever microphone you want, but you're going to need a microphone, and of course you're going to need lots of cables, because ins and outs and everything in between. Starting with the hardware, we have the Radial PRO-RMP, the Studio Reamp Box. Really simple, just an input and an output, a ground lift, and a volume knob. Really the only thing we're focusing here on is the input and the output. The input is the cable that is going to be coming out of your audio interface. while the output is what is going to be going to your amplifier. That's it. That's pretty much the only thing you have to worry about. The extra features on here, the ground lift you would do if you had some hum going on, and the volume, you can just choose the amount of volume that's coming out. Leave both of those alone unless you need to do something for noise. Once we leave the Radial Reamp box, we go into the amplifier, right in as if you were plugging your guitar into the input jack. Once you do all the stuff in your DAW and start playing, the sound will be coming through your amp. And then we really just focus on the microphone section, which is the second hardware step. The only thing you need to do here is throw a microphone in front of the speaker cab and have your microphone go into the either, input of your audio interface, or if you use a preamp, have it go into the preamp, and then from there into your audio interface. And that's pretty much it for hardware. It's just think of it as like a giant circle, and I will show a diagram here just to kind of illustrate what's happening. The start of it is your DAW, obviously. That's where you're coming from. So this audio signal is leaving your DAW into the audio interface. It is coming out of the audio interface, and that output goes into the input of the Reamp box. From the Reamp box, it goes out of the Reamp box into the input of your amp. From the input of your amp, it's playing through your amp now, and in which case you would take your microphone, put it in front of that speaker cab. Microphone is going to be picking up the audio signal, in which case it's sending it back to your audio interface into input 1, back into your DAW. Welcome to Reaper. Welcome to this Reamp tutorial. 2 tracks is all you're going to need. Like I said, I'm going to try to make this super simple, super straightforward, just really easy, the fastest, best, easiest way I possibly can. 2 tracks is all you're going to need. 1 track is going to be the DI track. This is the pristine, clean source that I was talking about. And the second track is going to be what you record on when you send that finalized reamped track that you have on your amplifier mic'd up back into your DAW. So let's start with the clean DI. I'm going to play it really quick so you can hear it. Biggest thing here, really the only thing you need to do, set the output of this single track to go out of your audio interface and into that Reamp box. So for me, I'm using an antelope audio interface. My output for Reamps is number 3. So I will go to the sends area of Reaper and add a hardware out to output 3. That is it. It is done. All the software side of things with this first track is done. Now, when I hit play and send it, it is sending out of my computer into my audio interface through the Reamp box and into my amplifier, which is in my closet where it is mic'd up, and that is it. The second part of this is that you now need to arm the second track for recording. The microphone that is in the closet on the amplifier on the speaker cone, that is track 2. It's already set up. You would set it up to whatever input that microphone is on, or preamp, whatever you're using, you would set it to this track right here. So for me, it's mic 1. So what you're seeing in this point in time is the live reamp happening. I'm taking the audio signal from my computer, I'm sending it out of my computer and audio interface through the Radial RMP. It is going into my amplifier, which is in my closet, where it's being played. That amplifier in my closet is mic'd up with a condenser microphone. I'm using the Blue Cardinal, Electro Voice Blue Cardinal. I think I'm also using 57, but you're just hearing the condenser mic going through, and then right like that, it's going back inside the DAW, finalized where you can hear it here. It sounds awesome. And then once everything is all said and done, your track's all ready. You let it go through, all however minutes long it is. You're done. That's it. Track is reamped. You could then maybe do another reamp through different settings, through a different amplifier. You can add pedals, you can mess around. The possibilities are endless. And that's really it. I mean, there's not a whole lot to reamping. It seems a lot more complicated than it actually is. Sure, there are more technical ways you can do things. You can add a DI box for a better signal. You can get a reamper with multiple outs so you can do different amps at the same time. You know, there's a ton of options. It's a very vast world of reamping, but very straight, simple, very to the point, very quick reamp guide. This is basically how you do it. A couple of questions that I've seen, the forums, Reddit posts, you know, other YouTube videos. I just kind of wanted to sort of go over a couple of these just because I see them. First question I see consistently is the difference between active and passive reamp boxes. I use a passive reamp box. I have used active ones. In my opinion, active ones do sound a little bit better. They are a little bit more crispy, like clear, pristine, very articulated sound. Because they are active and it is an active circuit, you are bringing in a little bit more noise, but you know, it's like 6 in one, a half a dozen, the other 50-50. Whatever one works best for you. Do you want a more detailed sound? Go active, but the passives work totally fine. I use a passive most of the time, but depending on the source, and if I have an active laying around, I will switch it out. Another question I see consistently is, what kind of audio interface should I get? And I kind of sort of touch base on this. It does not matter as long as it has at least, you know, 2 outs, 4 really being realistic. You should get one that has at least 4 outs. But yeah, I mean, every stock interface, the cheapest ones are going to have by default 2 outs. That's usually for a pair of monitors. Try to get the 4. It's going to save you a ton of time. You know, and at this point, it's just really which interface do you prefer. Like I said, I use an Antelope Audio one. I love it, but any audio interface will work. And this final question that I've seen a lot of is, how do I set up my audio interface with Reaper or Logic or GarageBand or Cubase or Pro Tools or whatever? How do I set up my audio interface with my DAW? And I'll tell you, it's going to be a lot easier for you to read a manual or contact customer support for your audio interface. That is probably going to be the best, fastest, easiest way for you to do it. There's so many complex softwares for different audio interfaces. Pro mix stuff for like RME, it's super straightforward. You know, you just set up, you know, an out in the software and you do exactly what I just showed you how to do here. Antelope is the same way. All the universal audio stuff is the same way. Focusrite, you know, M Audio, PreSonus, I've never really used those interfaces in recent time, so I can't really tell you. But yeah, consult a manual or customer support. It'll probably be the fastest, as some of these setups and softwares can get a little bit complicated and complex. With all else being said, this was the guide. Hope it was helpful in some way, shape, or form. Hope I could have maybe clarified something on the topic of reamping. If this video has been helpful for you, please like, comment, and subscribe. It would mean the world to me. Let me know what your favorite amp to reamp is. Mine is probably my TH30 or my Hot Rod DeVille. Both of those amps, it's awesomely easy to get a clean tone, a heavy tone, a mixed tone. They're tone monsters, and it's a joy for me to go ahead and reamp anything through them. I also really love reamping 5150s. But the speaker combination there could always be a little tough to get a tone for the project you're getting, trying to make it fit. But yeah, let me know. And as always, thanks again for watching. Have a good one.